Let me tell you a short story from the Italian city of Milan. A man living in Milan had an argument with his wife at home. They were arguing about something. After a fierce argument, that man left the house, slamming the door shut. He started walking on the road, thinking about the incident at home. Anger could have been seen on his face. Suddenly he was stopped by the police. Without any warning, they handcuffed him. Tied in handcuffs, he asked, what was his crime? The police officer politely answered, "You weren't smiling." Yes, you heard that right. He was arrested for not smiling. But the truth is, it is a made-up story. Another truth about this story is the weird law in Milan, Italy, which says that it is a legal requirement for people to smile at all times. The only exceptions are at funerals and hospitals. Therefore, if you are roaming around on the streets of Milan and people are smiling at you, don't take that personally. Jokes apart, but if we go into details about this law, it dates back to the 19th century. At that time, Milan was actually a part of the Austrian Empire from 1815 to 1861. Apparently, the Milanese people weren't happy about the foreign domination, and one could see that on their faces, so they established this law. Obviously, this law doesn't exist today, but still, it is strange. It's illegal not to walk your dog at least 3 times a day in Turin, Italy. Knowing this law exists in their city, most of the dogs will be excited. On the other hand, dogs who are introverts and prefer to stay indoors, eating, sleeping, and pooping around, will get frustrated after hearing about this law. This law was passed in 2005 in Turin by the city council. It stated that if the owner fails to walk their pets at least 3 times a day, the owner will be fined €500, about $650 at that time. The law also states that coloring the fur of a pet is illegal. The city's La Stampa Daily reported that, in Turin, it will be illegal to turn one's dog into a ridiculous fluffy toy. The implementation of the law can be a difficult task, but after hearing about this law, the people of Turin can actually take revenge on their neighbor if they have any troubles with them, just by keeping an eye on their dog. But if you have a dog or dogs, they can do it too. If you can't walk your dog 3 times a day, please keep €15,000 aside from your monthly expenses, or hire a man for €5,000 who will fulfill this regulation for you. Please contact us by email at justinfo.com. It is illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances. England. Yes, that sounds fishy, but you can get arrested if you handle salmon in suspicious circumstances in England and Wales or Scotland. It is among the provisions in the Salmon Act, 1986, which is a United Kingdom parliamentary law.
You are under arrest.
Hold on, what did I do?
You are handling the salmon and your moves look suspicious.
Yes, officer, he offered me food, and when I tried to eat that food, he grabbed me by my throat.
But you don't have one.
Sorry, my bad. I mean to say he grabbed me by my gills. Please arrest him, officer.
Aha, busted.
Keeping this hypothetical event aside, the motto behind implementing such a law was to reduce the illegal poaching of salmon. But if you still want to handle the salmon in the UK, please handle it without being suspicious and in gullible circumstances if you don't want to end up in prison. It is illegal to tie a giraffe to a street lamp or telephone pole. It is time to head to the United States. This law is from Atlanta, Georgia. The law states that it is illegal to tie a giraffe to a street lamp or telephone pole. This law was established in the 1800s when the circus was a main attraction in the town. During the circus, many rarely seen giraffes were brought into the city. As people started gathering in numbers to see the animal, the safety of the animal was compromised. To address this issue, the city passed a law prohibiting anyone from tying a giraffe in the open. This law looks strange and outdated today, but it is a historical reminder for the people of Atlanta. It is illegal to wrestle with bears in the U.S. If you saw a wild bear in front of you, what thoughts would come to your mind? The first will be to run away. If you are brave enough, you will think about standing still, lying down, and pretending to be dead. But there are a few people who can get a different kind of thought. Let's wrestle. This may sound weird, but it is true. If you see a bear roaming around in Missouri, remember, don't wrestle with him. I know it is common sense, but some people actually enjoy bear wrestling. In the history of the U.S., bear wrestling was really popular. In bear wrestling, they didn't just start wrestling with the bear. They would declaw the bear and remove the front teeth. After that, the match would start. Because of this kind of abuse, bear wrestling and anything related to bear wrestling were banned. Alabama also had a law to ban bear wrestling, but that law now comes under the Animal Protection Law, much like everywhere else. Now that we have talked about Alabama, there is a pretty weird law. It is illegal to drive blindfolded. Yes, if you live in Alabama or are thinking about visiting the state, please do not drive blindfolded because it is illegal. This law isn't so weird in itself, but what weird is, why in the world do you need a law for something that is absolutely elementary? As of now, we have seen the laws that exist or existed in the past, but now we will see some laws that are more strange and doubtful, but the information about the laws is vastly spread on the internet. In Scotland, if someone wants to use your toilet, you must let them use it. If you are in Scotland and a natural call comes, please do not hesitate to knock on anyone's door. This may happen on really rare occasions, but this law assures you that you can release your pressure without humiliating yourself in public. This sounds pretty funny and weird, but the fact is, there isn't any such law in Scotland. Many articles and videos will tell you about this law, but it is not true. Even so, people in Scotland will still help you in the case of an emergency. In Switzerland, flushing toilets after 10 p.m. is noise pollution. We know noise pollution can have effects on blood pressure, sleep disturbance, mental stress, and hearing damage. Even it can affect birds and animals. But the sound of swirling flush water is noise pollution? Although there are decidedly quiet hours in the country, any of that doesn't refer to a ban on flushing the toilet after 10 p.m. or calling it noise pollution. Probably this is a myth. There may be some apartments and owners who are strict about making noise after a certain time.
Remember, no flushing after 10 p.m.
But what if I need to go?
Rules are rules, or find somewhere else to live.
Okay then, I agree. Hello, do you have diapers?
Do you have a prescription?
Oh, come on!
It is illegal to fart in public after 6 p.m. on Thursday in Florida. There are things that we can't control, like the setting of the sun, the Earth's rotation, and hurricanes. And there are other things on which we can have some control, like our emotions, actions, talking, and farting. We can control our farts, but we can't do that every time. But if you are in Florida on Thursday, please ensure that you can control your fart, especially after 6 p.m. If you were seen farting after 6 p.m., the police can take strong action against you. This smelly law must be one of the old-time rules in the U.S. I actually have doubts about the existence of such a law, but if we consider that this was the law back in the past, I can't imagine what could have been the circumstances in which this law was established in the first place and how they were going to punish the farter. Regarding the question about this law, I remember a hilarious comment on Quora. A man wrote, "If you want to know if this law exists or not, please find an officer in Florida. Fart as hard as you can. Then tell him about this law. You will get the answer." So, anyone who is going to try this experiment, please share your experience in the comments. That way, you can contribute to our knowledge. That's it for today. Goodbye.